So you're back then?
Yeah, I haven't been gone that long.
Lex Luthor is a comic book character defined by two things: his formidable intelligence and his bald-ass head. In regards to the former, Luthor's mind is apparently so keen that various iterations of the character have casually bragged about solving cancer.
So there's actually quite a lot of Marvel heroes that are supposedly like super smart.
Well, Lex Luthor's from DC, but continue. That's staying in.
I want to say it again,
Oh,
Karl.
maybe you shouldn't take a vacation, Brad.
How smart is Lex Luthor?
He is impossibly smart, and the various comics have established that he is a leading mind in every kind of science known to man, including several he himself invented or pioneered, such as interdimensional travel and building giant robot suits to beat up Superman. Which is probably one of my favourite things about Lex Luthor because of how bad it is. The fact that Lex Luthor is supposed to be a man who combats Superman, the perfect, impossible man, with his mind, but then they say, but no, fuck it, give him a robot suit so he can punch him. The whole point of the character is that he solves all the problems with his mind, but they can resort to giving him a punch suit because that's not interesting in movies and video games.
It's also quite funny how Lex Luthor is always going on about, Superman needs to be stopped because no man should have that much power, and yet he can make suits that beat up Superman.
Yeah, as he amasses all of the power and wealth in the world. It's like, no one should have that much power, as he's basically Disneying his way across the world, buying fucking everything. Which makes me think that... Oh, God. Hello? Oh, thank you very much. That's the cleaner for the office. The thing is, I know he's going to come back because he's empty in the bin. Thank you very much.
With this being an established comic character, there's presumably an actual measure to his intelligence.
Yeah, there is always a hierarchy. So there's always like who is the strongest, who is the second strongest. And in terms of Lex Luthor, in the comics, he is peerless in terms of his intelligence by human standards. And there is only one character considered to be smarter than him in the comics, at least according to him, and that is Brainiac, who is a villain who is essentially that giant brain from Futurama who wants to absorb all the knowledge in the universe and blow it up. That's Brainiac. Brainiac is that way. He basically goes to civilizations, harvests all their knowledge, inserts it into his own head, and then just destroys them.
It'd be a very different comic book if Batman had to go back in time and have sex with his grandma in order to create
I was going to say, if Batman had to go back and fight a giant brain inside of, just like Pride and Prejudice.
Presenting the most eligible landowner in all Hertfordshire, Mr. Brainley. I'm a gigantic brain.
Most ungentlemanlike.
But do you know what always cracks me up about that particular episode? It's the visual gag of, the people in Moby Dick think the brain is a whale and they won't attack it. And then they throw paint on it, like the paint from Huckleberry Finn, onto the brain. And the guy goes, it's white now. So he throws the spear, which bounces off it. And in response, he tears off his own wooden leg and starts beating the brain with it. I love the idea of the most intelligent being in the universe being like, oh, I am above this. I'm just going to float through like a giant asshole. And just someone was hitting it with a piece of wood. So, getting back to Lex Luthor, him existing in a comic book, of course, means that he has showcased his intelligence in a number of theatrical, flamboyant ways, and there are various comics and TV shows and games and all that sort of thing where he's shown to do things as absurd as solving complex mathematical equations that have perplexed experts for decades over his morning coffee, or disassembling alien machinery he's never seen before and putting it back together to study and then improve upon its design.
Lex Luthor's existed for a long time.
Yes.
What is the dumbest example of him being super intelligent?
Oh, him just curing cancer randomly. Like, various iterations of Lex Luthor have either cured cancer or claimed to be able to cure it without trying. And it's taken to its logical extreme in like one of the animated movies, where the Lex Luthor in that movie just hands a formula to his assistant. And she goes, what's this? He goes, oh, it's the cure for some terrible disease. I don't think it's cancer, but it's something like, is horrible and completely life-ruining. And he says, oh, I found a way to cure it with a simple inoculation, but give it to the guys in the lab and figure out how to turn it into a lifetime treatment, basically becoming the American healthcare industry.
I can cure every known case with a simple inoculation. Have Swan find a way to slow it to a crawl. turn it into a lifetime treatment program.
Holy shit. Does that make him seem like a dickhead? And we should probably talk about how rich Lex Luthor is, because obviously being a genius mastermind of everything, he's of course amassed an absurd amount of wealth by consolidating his power and holdings the world fucking over. And I think the most absurd example of this is the city of Metropolis itself, which is noted to not contain any businesses not owned by Lex Luthor, except for, I think, the Daily Planet, which, and I love this fact, is a subsidiary of Wayne Enterprises.
I knew that was going to be.
Which means that Batman is Superman's boss, and I find that hilarious.
Imagine, like Clark Kent busy, and they're like, "Oh, we've got the senior management."
You've got
in.
CEO walking in,
and obviously Bruce Wayne walks in, and then he's like, "Oh man, Mr. Wayne," and like obviously trying to imagine
the mile banner reporter. Yeah.
He's imagining that Bruce is going to be really nice to him, but he just decides to lord it over him. It's because it's one of the only.
Yeah, well, he has to do, doesn't he? Like, he has to be like the billionaire playboy. And do you have like a favourite example of that from any DC media where Batman or Bruce Wayne has to put on being like the dickhead billionaire? Like ass.
The first one that comes to mind is The Dark Knight.
Yeah, when he buys the restaurant.
No, not buying the restaurant.
No?
I think that's Batman Begins.
Okay.
It's when he takes the entire, is it the gymnastics team or something? Yeah.
He takes the
takes on a
Russian gymnastics
boat
team.
and then just leaves.
Yeah.
You look tired, Alfred. You'll be alright without me?
You can tell me the Russian for apply your own bloody suntan lotion.
I think mine, it comes from the Batman Telltale game. If you've played it or familiar with it, it's really, really good. So obviously it's a Telltale game, so you get to pick what kind of Batman you want to be, and you can be the smarmiest, smuggest dickhead Bruce you want to be. And there's a bit where you stood just at a party, and you notice oh no, some Riddler goons are coming in, and a woman comes up to you, and she's like, "Oh hey, you're Bruce Wayne. I want to have a conversation with you." And one of the things you say is, "Please go away."
Please get away from me. Now.
What?
And she just goes, "Oh, you're not such a big deal." And my favourite response is a playthrough the Best Friends did, where they just say, "I actually super am," because he's fucking Bruce Wayne.
You're lost, rich boy. You're not all that,
I actually super am.
Also in that game, Bruce Wayne, because of the art style, looks exactly like Archer, which just makes the entire thing, no, seriously, put the picture of Archer and Bruce Wayne behind me from that game, and it makes the game so much better when you're playing as smarmy dickhead Bruce. Could you just imagine Archer saying it?
So let's bring this back again to Lex Luthor.
Yes.
So he can cure cancer whenever he wants.
Basically, yes.
And he doesn't because money.
Yeah, he will only do something like that if it is it directly profitable to him, either in terms of helping him consolidate his wealth or his power. The only known exception to this is when someone challenges his ego. And there is a comic book where there is a guy dying of a horrible disease, and all Lex Luthor's doctors are like, "There's nothing we can do. We can't figure out how to cure him." And Superman, who just so happens to be there, turns to Lex Luthor and says, "You talk nothing but endless mad shit about how smart you are and about how you can cure cancer whenever you want. Why don't you fucking show me how good you are?" And Lex Luthor gets so annoyed, he goes and goes, "Fine, I'll show you. What am I even paying you dickheads for?" And just goes in and just starts curing the guy on the spot. And just basically, on the fly, comes up with a cure for whatever disease he's got. Which is just, that's so Lex Luthor. And then you get Superman just stood there really smugly being like, "Got him." Completely fucking got him. I think the guy is dying of cancer. I just looked at the comic panel that I mentioned there, and it's Captain Cold, I think, just looks at Superman and says, "Oh wow, I get to watch Lex Luthor cure cancer on the spot." So apparently Lex Luthor can just cure cancer on his own. Great, what a hero.
The most depressing thing about doing videos about DC is how interesting the comics are.
And the animated series. The animated films and the TV shows are fucking amazing. I absolutely adore the DC animated stuff because just the characterizations are so on point. I love the relationship Batman and Superman have in the cartoons because they just have this friendly rivalry where Batman won't admit that he's Superman's his best friend. I think in Batman of the Future, Superman comes back and he shakes old ass Batman's hand, and Batman's obviously being gruff Batman, and Superman just smiles and says, "You outlive us all, Bruce. You're too stubborn." It's like, that's the relationship they have. And then you got them in the films and just punching each other and screwing Martha. But let's not talk about that. That's a dead horse we've beaten many times. So let's instead discuss favourite bald character in fiction.
That was out of left
Because
field.
Lex Luthor is like, famously I'd argue one of the most famous bald characters in comics. Like, who's a particular favourite bald character for you?
I mean, Magneto.
Xavier
comes. Xavier comes to mind.
Oh man,
Bald
don't you mean
character.
Patrick Stewart?
Yeah, specifically Patrick Stewart. Yeah.
Patrick Stewart. Joe's like an X-Men Star Trek crossover comic where Picard meets Xavier and they look at each other and go, "We look alike."
Well, you now brought up Picard,
Yeah.
another legend.
And we have to mention just that image that people have done of like, compare the haircuts from the first season to like the 8th season. And it's like, obviously, like Riker, and he goes, like subordinate, like second in command. It's like the woman, it's like, nurse to fucking doctor. And then Patrick's just leader. And he's just the same bald head. You know what? I left it Imhotep. From the Mummy movies.
Yeah.
That guy's so fucking awesome. I love as well how he just looks like a guy. Like, he's got the body of like a dad who's like at a swimming pool, but he's portrayed as being like this epic warrior who can beat up anybody. And he's in the same movie, he's just The Rock. I'm looking for all of Terry Crews' characters. Because I found something out that blew my mind. It's Terry Crews isn't bald. He shaves his head every day. He just doesn't like the way his hair looks, so he just shaves it every day.
I found out recently that Terry Crews was in Sixth Day.
Oh yeah, he is. He's one of the bad guys.
He's one of the bad guys. I was like, that's Terry Crews. Terry Crews isn't a bad guy.
No.
Terry Crews is a hero.
Yeah. Oh man, Terry Crews is so good. He's so bald. The thing is though, Brad, we can talk all day about bald characters, and we could ignore, Vin Diesel for the joke that we always make, that he's the 4th most popular bald character in his own movie. But I feel that there is a man marching towards this conversation right now, and that is Dr. fucking Evil, who because in the universe he exists in, it's established that turning evil makes you lose your hair. Because his son loses his hair when he embraces being evil.
But doesn't isn't the flashback scene where you find out, spoilers, that Austin Powers and Dr. Evil are brothers? Isn't the baby bald in that scene? So does that mean that he was an evil baby?
In my opinion. Like, is there any better cameo in a movie than just the Jerry Springer bit where Mike Myers as Dr. Evil is just beating up a member of the Ku Klux Klan? It's just like my dad is evil. You just see like proper just squaring up to him. It's like, oh man, those movies are so good.
They're probably making another one at some point. Like, they seem to be resurrecting a lot of old franchises.
I won't be surprised. Yeah,
Bill and Ted's coming back.
Yeah, the thing as well, because it was so reliant on like 2000s humour, it might start being funny again. But oh man, those movies, I forgot how good they were when I rewatched them a while ago.